Disclaimer: I am just a humble Genshin Impact fan. I do not own any of the rights to Genshin Impact, or any of the content within it, such as the lore books. Those specifically belong to Hoyoverse. What I do have, however, are friends with things like learning disabilities, such as dyslexia and ADHD, or very little free time, making reading the lore books either in-game or on wiki pages hard for them. Our solution to these problems has been for me to make these recordings so that they can listen to them and still get to enjoy Genshin lore like the rest of us. I have chosen to upload these recordings to YouTube as a way of sharing them with other fans within the community who might be in similar situations. I am admittedly no voice actress, trained narrator, or video editor, but I have tried my best, so please be gentle with me. Therefore, without further ado, let's get into today's story. Vera's Melancholy. A 12-volume book collection that is found in various places throughout Mondstadt, detailing the adventures of an ordinary girl named Vera. Volume 1. Found in the Mondstadt Library, or through talking to Tia at Wangshu Inn. I don't think the world is monotonous. It's just that interesting things happen in faraway galaxies. The great adventure of Vera, an ordinary girl always fascinated by distant lands, secretly begins. Endless days in infinite worlds. There are times when I think to myself, there is nothing to do in this tiny village. What a dull place to live. This wasn't the first time that Vera had complained about her hometown, the small country village of Delphi. Her frown eased slightly as she lay on the hillside near the village, eyes closed, feeling the breeze of the early summer.
Then where in this world would you not consider dull?
Her buddy Sachi asked curiously. Vera sat up and leaned forward. I believe on the other side of the starry sea is a planet inhabited by gods who can answer all prayers and wishes, and everyone bearing a wish is on a journey to get there. I believe in our universe there is a world currently in a war against Doomsday, where the noble and elegant souls of 14 Valkyries burn bright, if only for a brief but magnificent moment.
You've been reading too many of those weird fantasy novels.
But this village really is dull. When was the last time anything fun happened here?
Funny you should say that. A new family did move into our village recently.
Novelty and fun aren't the same thing. Despite what she had said, Vera decided to pay a visit to the newcomers. Sachi, however, remembered his family's rules and walked back home for dinner. Vera gave the door to the newcomer's abode a gentle push. Much to her surprise, it wasn't locked. Anybody home? No sooner had the words left her mouth than the living room cupboard doors flew open, and out jumped a black-haired boy wearing glasses. He was followed by a tentacled blue slime.
Make way! Tal, why did you let a stranger in?
The black-haired boy gently pushed Vera out of his way and picked up an axe by the door.
You leave me with no choice. Since you have seen everything, there is only one thing for it.
Thus began the biggest crisis of Vera's life. Volume 2. Found in the Mondstadt Library. Everything's just boring. Everything all the time. It's not depression, it's just reaching the age of 14. So begins Vera's adventure. My backyard is slightly bigger than the entire universe. All I can do now is ask you to help me. The black-haired boy, who called himself Ike, handed Vera a kitchen knife. He walked back to the cupboard and began slashing at the tentacles frantically.
Come and help me close this door. If a tentacle starts attacking you, use this kitchen knife to defend yourself.
Ike's glasses were now covered in blue slime.
Hurry! We can't let this evil demon cross into Delphi.
Upon hearing his words, Vera helped Ike close the door. While they were pushing back the tentacles, Vera accidentally stabbed Ike twice in the back. Thankfully, Ike's healing spells were quite potent.
I shall explain everything to you. I am in fact over 1,000 years old, and this door is a gateway to anywhere in the universe. That tentacled monster is an old one from the large Magellanic Cloud. I went there to get something.
Ike was covered in slime from head to foot by this point. He wiped his glasses with Vera's dress as he spoke.
Is there anything else that you'd like to know?
Who's Tal? Vera didn't seem to mind.
An evil spirit that's resided in the man-devouring castle. It has served me as a butler since I subdued it. Strangely, it behaved quite friendly towards you.
Vera's parents always reminded her that people are destined to build families, and that it was futile to entertain dreams of anything beyond the homestead. Her buddy Sachi once told her that if a lively girl like her was to marry someone from a faraway land, the whole village would become unbearably lonely. The real reason Sachi said this was that he was something of a weakling, and was sure to be ferociously bullied if he ended up having to play with the boys.
The human spirit is still too immature. I need to guide you both through the wonders of your childhood.
Ike extended his inviting arms to Vera.
You will sing every step of the way on your long journey to youth.
From the Orion Arm to the eternal Yohannem, from the torrents of time to the depths of the starry sea. How far is beyond? Any place in this universe is just as boring as my backyard, she said.
The scale of everything beyond follows the heart,
Ike replied.
Thus, my heart is slightly bigger than the entire universe.
Volume 3, found in the Mondstadt Library. The Andromeda Empire stretches across half the galaxy group. Every planet within the empire has its own demons and deities, dragons and monsters. I've come up with a story for every star from your home.
That's not possible. Looking from here, the Andromeda Galaxy is only 1/5 the size of your moon.
So continues Vera's adventure. The Man Who Stole the Lone Star. I am the second rightful heir to the Andromeda Empire, and I have more than 200 titles to my name. You shall call me the Princess Androbasilisks. The charming girl then crossed her arms, savouring the moment of her entrance in her mind, and giggling to herself in amusement. Her sole reason for gracing Delphi with her presence was to marry Ike. If you, he who conquered a quarter of the universe, marry me, my safety shall be guaranteed after my elder sister takes the throne. If I may ask, how big is the Andromeda Empire? Vera asked. I reckon there are more than 9,000 inhabitable planets. With so many stars in your possession, why come to steal my brilliance?
So you aren't here to harm Vera?
Sachi curiously asked Ike, who was carrying the scrolls and globes of other planets.
Of course not. I think she would make a great assistant.
After putting everything down, he clapped his hands.
You like her? Me? No, not at all. I don't like her at all.
Sachi looked away, worried that the old sage might discern his true feelings. He reached for a box of old photo frames. He grabbed a few at random, each picture depicting a different beauty.
Look at them. They all said that they gave me their one and only true love. But did they? In reality, I was just one of their many lovers.
Sachi did not know when or where he heard the saying, but it blurted out from his mouth in his moment of annoyance.
With so many stars in your possession, why come to steal my brilliance?
Volume 4, located at the northeastern side of Good Hunter, on the balcony. There is a saying that goes as follows: not all that glitters is gold. Sometimes it is the outpouring of a broken heart. Either way, the stars in the sky certainly aren't made of gold, and most people's hearts aren't made of glass. In any case, here is the next chapter of Vera's adventure. All that glitters. The people in these photographs are all so pretty, Vera exclaimed as she picked up Ike's box of framed photos.
Of course they are. Otherwise, they wouldn't have had the chance to leave me with a photograph to remember them by.
Ike has no intention of evading. After all, he was a galactic sage who was over 1,000 years old. So, of course, he knew that girls were easily hurt, and that they could become trouble very easily. Ike would thus never cheat a girl. Take note, boys.
Having seen the starry host, I thus make star-shaped jewels to remember them by,
he continued to explain.
But those stars that shine across the universe do not belong to anyone, so it is also impossible to steal them.
Vera did not understand. What are you saying?
I'm saying this for the sake of a foolish fellow who isn't present right now. Pay it no mind. Humans are just far too young. I will serve as a go-between between you and Ike,
Sachi said to the princess of the Andromeda Empire in a loud voice. Huh?
I love Vera, I don't...
Disgusting. Boring. Be silent, worm. You're an offense to my ears. I've already acknowledged Vera as my friend. I will not hand her over to a cowardly person like you.
What?
Volume 5. Found in the Mondstadt Library. You can't have picnics on the sides of a galaxy highway. Even the deities will be held fully responsible for roadside accidents that might occur. The doorway to the study in a simple village connects anywhere in space and time. Having hide and seek across time, Vera's great adventure continues. Roadside Picnic. When Ike was taking a nap, his servants waged a terrible war against each other. The great wizard had subdued many gods and demons to serve under him. As the most formidable wizard of his day, Ike was in command of gods and demons more numerous than the entries in a dictionary. But who was the strongest of those under his rule? The gods and demons decided to find out for themselves through battle. Unfortunately, they seemed to have erroneously regarded their own three who were neither gods nor demons: the princess, Sachi, and Vera. Ike only slept for 2 hours, but in that time, 3 stars had already been destroyed. Why should I protect you? The princess pulled her hand away, and the giant demon plummeted to the ground, its eyeballs gone. The dominant race of the Andromeda Empire may look lovely and sweet, but on their palms grow 2 special mouths, which they use to devour the eyeballs of their lovers and those they vanquish. Are we not friends? Vera wiped blood off her face and appeared to be hurt by the princess's words. Yes? The princess blushed and looked away. I already regard you as my only friend for what has happened. I was not referring to you, Vera.
No!
Sachi yelled as the gnarly jaws of a dragon closed around him.
Do you surrender to me now?
The giant dragon jeered.
Surrender and concede that you are worthless lowly rats, and I shall let you live. I surrender! I surrender! Let me go!
Sachi screamed. Why, a lizard of your despicable breed should know better than to utter such foolish words. Even the geckos in my palace could crush you. The princess gave her wrists a twirl.
No! This has nothing to do with me!
Sachi yelled as the dragon cast him into the sky, and just like that, the battle between the dominant species of Andromeda and the giant dragon was over. The moral? You won't get hurt if you just surrender. Sachi was knocked out of the contest and woke Ike up with a slap of a slipper. Vera also survived thanks to the protection of the princess. Ah, you imbecile! The mere sight of you is revolting. Do not come near me. Don't talk to me, don't look at me, nor breathe the same air as me, you lowly scum! The princess could not have a lower opinion of Sachi. Volume 6. Found in the Grand Master's office of the Knights of Favonius. There once was a great scholar who wished to write a book about all the festive days of the Empire. After looking into it more closely, he discovered that every single day had some sort of festival associated with it. He persevered with this monumental writing task for 6 months before giving up on it. But don't worry, as far as this book is concerned, I am the author and I won't let my readers down. For every season. Though those things had indeed happened, they were occurrences on a galactic scale. Now something more mundane was about to happen. The date of the town festival was drawing near. I suppose it's finally my turn to introduce you two to this small town then, Vera said as she served the princess and Ike her very own braised dishes. After all, those things they had encountered in their galactic escapades had to be explained by the princess and Ike. If there was any knowledge Vera had to present to them, it was the knowledge of her hometown. Afterward, the great king's first messenger, the brave knight Halfman, strode west across 2 continents, crossing great oceans and rivers. As for the imperial sage, the witch in the east, she passed by her hometown on her road eastward, and then came by the land of the nether. Thus, they finally met here. Huh, is that so? How interesting. Though she was trying hard not to let Vera notice that she did not in fact care for the story at all, the princess's acting skills required some work.
So that could only mean that this place is on the polar opposite side of the world from the Great King's capital, right?
Ike said, commenting on a seemingly unimportant aspect of the tale. That's true if you think about it. Vera rubbed the back of her head with a crooked smile. I've always said that I wanted to leave this place, but in the end, I discovered that this is the place I'm most familiar with. Having come to this realization on the eve of the town's anniversary, Vera began crying in front of Sachi's eyes. You numbskull! You made Vera cry! The princess made her entry with a flying kick, sending Sachi hurtling away. Volume 7, located on a table behind the Dawn Winery. In the star clusters at the outer reaches of the universe, habitable planets are few and far between. For this reason, the region is the playground of space captains and pirates alone. With this being the universe, though, there is no port and starboard in the traditional sense. Out here, starboard means whichever side of your spacecraft is orientated towards the star you are using for navigation. Lose yourself, and especially your sense of direction, in this next chapter of Vera's starbound voyage. Galaxy Wars.
Reigniting the sun is not difficult, but I don't think the Andromeda Empire would like to see that happen.
Ike said to the panicked Vera.
Do you mean that the princess has kidnapped Sachi?
Vera said with some shock in her voice after giving the matter some thought.
How did you come to that conclusion? I'm saying that only the Andromeda Empire would be capable of kidnapping you and the princess.
Ike then turned to face the innumerable lives that dwelled within the galaxy. He paused for a moment before declaring thus.
Inhabitants of the galaxy, though I have come here upon the invitation of the High Saint King Lebanon to reignite the flames of the few remaining stars, it seems the Andromeda Empire does not wish for your longevity and has thus kidnapped my friend.
Are you then to put their lives over that of all life? Saint King Lebanon arose from her seat. If that is the case, why then do I rule over these stars? Finally, the Saint King would charge into peril alone, defeat the assassins from the Andromeda Empire, and rescue both the princess and Sachi. Afterward, she had a few words with Ike.
I didn't think you could defeat the dominant species of Andromeda.
Ike praised.
They're a strong and hardy race. I suppose it's true, that you defeated the Holy Dragon en route to becoming the Saint King.
I am, in fact, that same Holy Dragon. I fused with Lebanon's flesh and blood, and now act according to her wishes.
Huh?
Ike was a little shocked by this. Yes. Is that the fellow, the person the second princess is fond of? When I barged in, they were...
What?
Now that was a much bigger shock for Ike. Volume 8. Found inside the Dawn Winery. Of course boys aren't invited to the girls' slumber party. Girls are sacrosanct, like the gods of the Golden Age. Vera, the princess, Saint King Lebanon, and alpha female of the galactic swarm, shall talk deep into the night. The girls themselves.
I said it was a misunderstanding. She was about to eat me,
Sachi explained.
I don't think she was intending to eat you,
Ike said, pushing his glasses up.
The dominant race of the Andromeda Empire have organs on the palms of their hands that allow them to capture and consume eyeballs. I've seen it before. It looks like some sort of lamprey.
Sachi shivered a little as he said the last word.
Let me finish.
Ike wanted to touch his eyes, but wound up pressing his fingerprint into his glasses. Taking his glasses off, he touched his left eye.
Their practice of eating eyes has two meanings. Submission.
He touched his right eye.
And love.
Sachi also began to rub both his eyes, thinking about which it was back then.
Whatever the case, I don't think the princess really understands the difference. Those who submit to her, those things she conquers, those who love her, they're all the same to her. People who can't hurt her in an imperial succession battle. No wonder those Andromeda Empire assassins kidnapped her. 2 birds with 1 stone, eh? I'm not getting involved in their succession wars. I can only help you support her better. Hey now, we're not like that. I mean, doesn't she hate me the most?
And what were the girls talking about at this very moment? That may yet be an eternal mystery. Volume 9. Found in the Mondstadt Library. Vera's so beautiful, like a shining star in the universe, but boys at this age are always more petite than girls of a similar age. Childhood must be let go of to welcome the coming of the adolescent years. It's not too late to think about it now. real melancholy finally hits Vera. Death awaits in abyssal waves. As Vera and Sachi grew up, the chemistry between the four changed in subtle and inexplicable ways.
Enough with excuses,
Sachi said to Ike.
Vera will not cease pursuing you even if you never reciprocate her feelings.
Ike was a symbol of a faraway land. He stood for the unknown, for that which was waiting to be discovered. A brave bird would never nest there, but would be forever adrift in the winds of admiration. Ike retorted,
No matter which way you look at it, being 1,000 years old makes you an elderly person.
Then we are well matched in age. The princess merrily chipped in on their conversation. When Sachi finally mustered the courage to declare his love, he met with the most dreadful fate. Remember the ancient sword that Ike and Vera received from the Old Ones when they first met? It was what Ike needed to propel destiny forward. But now Vera had her finger slit by its blade, and a malicious ancient virus sapped the life out of her.
This is all your fault!
Sachi grabbed Ike by the collar. If the tragedy had not happened, Ike would have laughed it off, for he was a gentle soul. But this time he slapped Sachi's hand away. Don't you know how to rewind time? Please do it to save Vera! Even the princess begged.
You don't understand. Only the future can save the past, not the other way around.
Ike bit his lip until blood came flowing down.
A local myth speaks of a silver age when people enjoyed a seemingly endless childhood that could last up to 200 years. This only made their short maturity a pain to bear.
To the others, childhood was long gone, but youth was forever beyond their reach. To be continued in Vera's Melancholy, without Vera. Volume 10. Found in the Grand Master's office of the Knights of Favonius. It's enough. Let's go home. The furthest place I've dreamt of is the Delphi where you are. Though the explanation is delayed, you should know that Delphi is the center of Greek mythology. Vera's Melancholy, the perfect ending. Or is it? Vera's Melancholy. To revive Vera, Sachi, Ike, and the princess embarked on a spectacular and thrilling journey that lasted 20 years. From battling Signor Inferno to slaying the Star Devourer, the trio even rescued 2 galaxies and the Galaxy Empire, and eliminated 4 species of ruthless interstellar worms along the way. When Vera opened her eyes, she found herself in the arms of Sachi, now a hero of cosmic proportions. To the dominant species of Andromeda, 20 years was nothing more than a few seconds. The princess looked lovely as always, but her countenance was a curious mix of genuine happiness and loss. Sachi, having lost an eye in his adventures, was now a tall and strapping young man. His flowing tears soaked into Vera's shoulders. Though still prone to tears, he was no longer his feeble-minded self. The years had been kind to Ike, who after all this time still had that same old smile on his face.
I am but an echo of time,
Ike said as he began his preparations.
As I've said, the past cannot change the future, for the predetermined rules of equilibrium are slightly more powerful than me. But the future, with its infinite possibilities, could save the world.
Ike transformed Sachi back into what he was 20 years ago, and time reversed itself to the day of their departure. Everything seemed to remain unchanged between the four, though they realized that the innocence they once shared was one thing that could never return.
I'm sorry for depriving you of your childhood,
Ike said to him.
Now go, the youth that you deserve awaits. I have witnessed every wonder in the universe for your sake, and this is how my childhood ended.
Sachi summoned every last ounce of his courage as he stood before the girl of his destiny.
I will never reach my youth without you by my side.
What will her answer be? Editor's note. The author of Vera's Melancholy is now living off the high life with the royalties from the first 9 volumes. If you happen to see him in your corner of the universe, please help us to impress upon him the urgency with which we require the next volume. Volume 11. Final Volume, Version 1. Found on Floor 4 of the Mahavaipulya Chamber Library in the Temple of Space. It is said that the author of this work has rather questionable professional ethics. Allegedly, the same story has been pitched to publishers as a new work again and again on various planets. This is perhaps the reason a kill order has been placed on the writer by a certain galactic empire. Yu Huang Yi cannot tell which volume was a piece of space debris salvaged by the Mistress's sisters and which was written by Hilda out of outrage at the original ending. After all, both are handwritten manuscripts. The beast calling out for love at the heart of the world. Of course the story had to be set in Delphi. How else was I supposed to make good on the title of the final volume? Every day was a celebration and every day a festival. For the boys and girls who were young no longer, nothing remained by the endless flow of happy time. Alone in his estate, Ike sat nursing a glass of apple juice. A knock came from the Princess Basilisks. Tal, evil spirit and butler of the manor, winced. A painful memory of its front teeth, otherwise known as the front doors, being kicked wide open, swam to mind. Ultimately caught between its master's orders of, "I want to be left alone, don't let anyone in," and the prospect of its front teeth throbbing in agony, it decided to let its master fend for himself. Fortunately, Ike did not blame it this time. The silent boy, that fragment of time itself, poured the princess a glass of apple juice.
"What do you plan to do?"
The fact that Ike was actually taking a proactive interest in her affairs was a rare sight indeed. "I took the very eyes in Sachi's head. Even with new ones put back in, even if time itself were turned back, I could never ever love another." The princess swirled her glass. "In all these broken shards of time, is there really no ending meant for me?"
Would you truly reach across the branches of possibility to steal joy from the other versions of yourself?
"I suppose you're right. In that case, I'll wait. I'll wait until Vera grows old and finishes her happy little life. After that, I'll tie Sachi up and take him back to the Andromeda Empire."
Sachi had already undergone countless augmentations and signed the contracts of infinite great beings. He could only pretend to grow old. He would spend old age acting out youth, knowing all too well that real youth, once gone, is gone forever. That answer eases my worries a little. After a long silence, Ike spoke again. With this operation, the echoes of time have multiplied. Somewhere in the universe there may now be another me. I must find him, duel him, and merge our souls back into one.
"I see." They tapped their glasses together. The princess finished the last of her drink, then closed the door and left. Under the full moon and the starry sky, Ike went for a walk. From the hills, he looked down at Delphi. Suddenly, he took off his glasses and wiped away his tears.
"I love you all! I love all of you!"
That echo of time shouted the words at a deafening volume. It rang loudly through time itself, a sound so thunderous that, throughout the vast universe and into the depths of forever, his proclamation was the only thing to be heard. But this was Delphi, neither the center nor heart of the universe, only an ordinary town. The night wind carried his shout away, and soon it vanished among the lights of happy homes and the dawn of human youth. Volume 12, Final Volume, Version 2, found on Floor 2 of the Mahavaipulya Chamber Library in the Temple of Space. The manuscript for the final volume of Vera's Melancholy series. It was never published, however, because the author's portrayal of a certain princess from a galactic empire incurred enormous resentment from the princess who inspired the character. But somehow, the manuscript has found its way here. Yu Huang Yi cannot tell which volume was a piece of space debris salvaged by the Mistress's sisters and which was written by Hilda out of outrage at the original ending. After all, both are handwritten manuscripts. A plea for love from the heart of the world. It wasn't long before Sachi and Vera were old enough to be engaged. The day of their wedding was already drawing near. But then, Ike sought Sachi out with a warning.
"This universe is on the brink of destruction. We need you for one more adventure, just like in the old days."
But then, Ike saw the engagement rings on their fingers, and he shook his head.
"No, I had forgotten. You are only a mortal now."
He turned to leave, but a hand caught his shoulder.
"Be honest. How much do the odds change without me?"
Ike took off his glasses and polished them.
"I have plenty of familiars now. Your help wouldn't make much of a difference." "You still wipe your glasses every time you lie?"
Ike sighed.
You're the finest interstellar warrior we've got. Without you, our chances would drop by nearly a third. Then count me in. If the universe falls, Delphi, the Virgo Nebula, and Vera too, they will disappear. I must save the world.
When did Vera lose her desire for adventure? Perhaps it happened the moment what was lost was returned. People say Delphi is the heart, the center of the world, and people say I love you, but they're just words until they are proven. Someone has to set out alone. Someone has to cross mountains and rivers, sail across oceans, walk through forests and scorched lands, and see every rose the world has to offer. If, after all that, they still find their way back to you, only then is it proven that the world is round, that this place is its heart, and that they truly love you. The seasons turned and the wait became a great, long silence. But Vera lived in that silence, still believing that Sachi was on his way back to her. Since the world had not ended today, it meant that somewhere, in a corner of the universe, her friends had succeeded. They must have saved the world after all. I love you all. I love all of you. And so Vera whispered, a soft plea for love rising from the heart of the world. Other information. The book's cover says Melancholia in the language of Teyvat. The author completed the collection in the Cage of Suchness sub-area of the Temple of Space. Despite being written in Teyvat, this book alludes to many locations and astronomical coordinates which are specific to real-life Earth. The implications of this are presently unknown, but they include the Large Magellanic Cloud, Orion Arm, Andromeda Galaxy, Delphi, Greece, and possibly Lebanon. As mentioned, this book contains many references to real-world concepts or fiction. These include: the title of the book is likely an allusion to the light novel and its anime adaptation, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. The 14 Valkyries in A War Against Doomsday are plausibly a reference to the characters from Honkai Gakuen and Honkai Impact, while the Galactic Highways are possibly the Star Rail, Silver Rail, Star Trek system from Honkai Star Rail. Jahannam is the name for hell in Islam. Real-world concepts or fiction references continued. The title of Volume 4, All That Glitters, is a reference to Act 2, Scene 7 from the 17th century English play The Merchant of Venice by William Shakespeare. All that glitters is not gold, often have you heard that told. Many a man his life hath sold, but my outside to behold. Gilded tombs do worms enfold, have you been as wise as bold? Young in limbs, in judgment old, your answer had not been enscrolled. Fare you well, your suit is cold. The title of Volume 5, Roadside Picnic, is a reference to the Soviet novel of the same name by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. Lebanon is possibly a reference to one of two places. A region of the same name in J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth, as in Sindrian, the language of the elves, Lebanon means 5 waters. The real-world country Lebanon, which has its name, originates from the Phoenician root for white, apparently because of Mount Lebanon's snow-capped peaks. Real-world concepts or fiction references continued. The name derives from the ancient Sumerian city of in Mesopotamia, which has become a byword for the very first or oldest version of something. Due to the girls being analogized to gods in the summary for Volume 8, The Girls Themselves, it is possibly a reference to the 20th century American novel The Gods Themselves by Isaac Asimov. The Gold and Silver Ages referenced in the book also refers to the ages of man in Greek mythology. The title of Volume 11, The Beast Calling Out for Love at the Heart of the World, is plausibly a reference to the 1968 sci-fi short story The Beast That Shouted Love at the Heart of the World by Harlan Ellison. The title of Volume 12, A Plea for Love from the Heart of the World, is a reference to the 2001 Japanese melodrama novel Crying Out Love in the Center of the World by Koichi Katayama, which is also known as Socrates in Love. There are a few notable fan theories that revolve around this book. The first is that the author might be Kleiner, Alice's husband, down to it being referenced as a he/him at the end of Volume 9 by the editor, and because of all of the out of Teyvat references made, thus meaning the author needs to be someone who knows about these places. It should be noted, though, that in a letter left behind by the author in the Cage of Suchness, we know that after entering Teyvat illegally, he was locked away in the cage without explanation and was not allowed to speak to the border authorities. We know that Alice is one of Teyvat's border authorities, and Kleiner is her husband, so while Alice should know who the author is, it's unlikely it's Kleiner because the two of them should never have spoken if the author's letter is correct. The second is that this book proves Teyvat is linked to Hokai Gakuen, Star Rail, and Honkai Impact because of the mention of galactic highways, Valkyries, and being in a war against Doomsday. The third is that the Byakuya Koku collection mentions that Delphi was the name of the Serpent's Heart in Enkanomiya in the earliest times, meaning Vera and Sachi were likely from Enkanomiya. The fourth is that Vera could well be a woman from Teyvat, with her name being a pseudonym for Romhilda's sister, Melancholy, as both had aspirations for travelling and had partners who left to go and save the world. The Korean version of the title has a literal meaning, the melancholy of girl Vera, making it a parody of the melancholy of Haruhi. In Russian, the name Vera stems from the Slavic word Vera, meaning faith. The famous words faith, hope, and charity/love are all popular female names in Russia, and are also the names of 3 Christian martyrs. There are Russian words for charity relating to philanthropy organizations, the act of/work, and receiving, but not a given name. The closest is Lubov, love. This book was released in version 1.0, but only volumes 1, 2, 3, 5, 9, and 10 were available. In version 1.1, volumes 4, 6, 7, and 8 were added, and the collection was added to the archive. These were followed by volumes 11 and 12 being added in version 6.5. Luna 6. Other names. Sources. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Ad Astra, Ad the Sauce.